Good evening and welcome to this edition of DeFacto Review, a weekly roundup of the biggest stories shaping Mongolia. Here with us tonight is our commentator and economist, Jargat of DeFacto.
Good evening.
And my name is Dutgang. We're live on Facebook at V Television, and we want to hear your thoughts, so send us your comments on Twitter with hashtag Jargat_DeFacto. Coming up on the program. To dissolve or not. Democratic Party Caucus. Mortgage loan financing. Transparency of government decisions. So last week, 4 parliament members, along with a couple others, submitted a proposal to asking for the resignation of the Speaker of the House, Ingvald. So what were these 4 parliament members exactly fighting for?
Well, what happened in Mongolia was we have lost this balance and mutual control of 3 branches of power for a long time ago. Executive, lawmaking, executive, and the judicial. And this one, because we have lost long time ago, slowly brought a lot of problems we have not been solving up to now. Mm-hmm. And there is a special court, constitutional court, which is supposed to see that loss of balances, loss of control, mutual controls, mm-hmm. on time and check and verify and solve immediately. That was the main purpose of the Constitutional Court, which did not work. Mm-hmm. Somehow it became a part of this policymakers, so much under-influenced by them. So as a result, Mongolia was coming with a lot of problems, and the current situation of these 4 parliament members demanding the speaker to resign, mm-hmm. is this is the reflection of all these issues. What they want to do is they come to up from the top, taking away speaker from this decision making, which will then they will change the agenda of the parliament, mm-hmm. which law to discuss first, and also they need to replace certain officials, in particular in the Constitutional Court and also the anti-corruption agency. Mm-hmm. But whether they can succeed or not, it's another issue, first. Secondly, what happened recently about this, with this fund to support SME, mm-hmm. how it was misused by the same parliamentarians, caused a lot stirring in the society. Mm-hmm. And now we need to see more what had happened with another 27 funds and many other programs, so-called price stabilization program. Mm-hmm. So, and this Prime Minister had promised to go deeper, more checking all these funds. Mm-hmm. So that's why they support the Prime Minister fund, the cabinet. Mm-hmm. But these 4 members really suggesting to start all this reform from the top. Mm-hmm. That's the situation.
Mm-hmm. And so what would happen if, hypothetically, the Speaker of the Parliament does resign?
You know, his situation is very tough. He has a lot of pressure now. These 4 parliament members are standing with the demand in the written form in front of them, 4 of them standing back to the speaker, to the facing to the big auditorium of the parliament hall. Mm-hmm. And it's already good pressure a lot. And he said that, no, I will not resign because I have not violated any law while I am a speaker. Mm-hmm. But this fight will continue, and the very senior and very senior, well-known MP member from the same party, Mr. Nyamdorj, said that it is not the issue of one person's job. It is an issue of Parliament of Mongolia. He will support, and he joined those half of the parliament members who are also demanding his resignation. Until he's resigned, they will not come to the Parliament Hall, which completely stops the political life in the country, because they need to now approve new agriculture minister. They need to approve of resigning or firing 2 other ministers. So Parliament is also, the cabinet is not also very much capable now, because 3 ministers are missing now. So that's the situation. So I think slowly he had to resign. If he has not resigning for longer time, it will bring more crisis in political life of the society, country. But good thing is we will reveal more wrongdoings of the parliament members. That's good news. And if he's resigning, it's also good news, because then we can go after changing some agenda in the parliament sessions, because some laws are on the purpose was putting aside by this current speaker. And he's not allowing the open hearing of couple cases, including the 60 billion to Greeks case, where he is involved. And the other cases, this is SME, etc. So Mongolian politicians have to do a lot of works in any case. As a result of all this, what's happening in the country, Mongolian democracy is winning. We're now learning who is who every day more.
And so do you think these issues that are coming to light in recent weeks and months are a continuation of the internal political party conflicts?
Yes, and not only, because we have 2 political parties, People's Party and the Democratic Party, running the country either together in coalition, or in a group, or separately. These 2 political parties are so much kind of secretive. Nobody knows where they are getting money. Nobody is informing, not transparent. And that's why they are mostly serving those who are financing them. And that's why they are doing the economic decisions that otherwise normal countries will not do it. So we call their combination, Manang is the word of the 2 names in Mongolian of 2 political parties, but at the same time it also means fog. And actually it's very also physically it is the fog, actually, or nominally we can say a Mongolian government is in a fog. We don't see we haven't been seeing at least what was in the inside of the fog. It turned out they were misusing our funds, stealing our money, and that's what you would not expect from the democratic power in democratic country. But what happened was recently is not only continuation of the internal conflicts of 2 political parties separately, but once they are together, big fog, now we see 2 fogs in both elements of both political parties are there. So whether this 2 fogs can make things clear, I doubt, because principally there is no leadership in both political parties, that everybody follows, a person that everybody follows, or at least there is no principles where the political party members demanding transparency of their own money, financing, or why the politicians becoming so rich in this country. So the political members of these 2 parties are becoming also kind of a part of all this corruption system by not asking their party to be transparent.
And so moving on to our second topic of the evening is about the caucus. So currently the Democratic Party has a minority caucus, however it may be losing that status soon. So can members be dismissed from the Democratic Party?
Apparently yes. I checked their charter of the Democratic Party. There is a demparty.mn website where you can find a very long charter in which they specify under which conditions they can dismiss, expel the political party member. And apparently it is a very long thing, but the very interesting thing was first, the Democratic Party charter says that a member must give an oath to be a part of the party. First, second, their rights and obligations are very much clearly specified. And in the charter, in this charter, you go group chapter 3 and provision 5. It says they will expel political party member in 2 cases. One, if they violate the third group, and there are many provisions. It's one case. Second, if they have done criminal acts, then they will be expelled. And this member's case will be considered by, there is a charter committee inside. They will within 5 days give the confirmation of this dismissing of the member. Well, there are many reasons, but the one thing is very interesting is if a member goes against the decisions of above organizations of political party, above him or political decisions of the organs like members of parliament, the parliament members of this party, their decisions, and or the people's representative, Horal in IMAX, etc. And if they go against these decisions collectively made, they can be expelled. So this sort of provisions is there. So that's why they do. That's why Park Sang-dang was expelled, because he was against the party decisions to resign Hurusuk cabinet, and he did not. So that's why he's expelled. Mr. Bolt and Mr. Murat, 2 parliament members, are now forbidden to be parliament member, to be candidate for parliament member from the Democratic Party. After which Mr. Bolt had resigned from his membership. Now, the DeFacto, the Democratic Party has no parliamentarian caucuses.
And so with the Democratic possibly losing its official minority caucus position, does that mean there will be no opposing force against the other, like the majority party right now?
According to our law, you need to have at least 8 seats in the parliament to have a parliamentarian caucuses, to be a parliamentarian caucus. Once you are the parliamentarian caucus, you have one high position, which is deputy speaker, which can replace, or has many rights. Right? They are losing this. Yes. Secondly, parliamentarian caucuses has a own working group, working unit, which has own budget. You see, the certain staff who is working for this whole caucuses, and the caucus has a right to make amendment in the agenda of the parliament. They also can propose certain candidates for standing committees, so which altogether help a lot them to be functional opposition forces, which is not anymore. I think de facto they lost this, and the de jure should be from already tomorrow. They cannot be as a caucuses, which is, of course, many things to lose.
So what kind of responsibilities do political parties owe to their members?
Well, political parties owe to members. Well, this issue is regulated by their charter. And apparently in the Democratic Party, it has a big, this charter, and of course People's Party has even bigger. The only issue is whether they are all implementing all provisions of their charters or not. But apparently not. They use the charter when it is profitable for them. For example, like the case of member Park Sang-dang, they are referring to their political party charter, and it's like it's a paper to kill the flyer, when needed. when they not need, they don't implement the charter. For example, in Democratic Party charter, which I have studied today, there's a particular clauses which says that they create fund of development called democracy. And in this fund, they gather all monies and they manage from there, their party functions, training, education, etc. And that fund must be consisting of certain, they have specified, for example, for donation of the people, etc. But that foundation, the provision says that should be transparent for public, it says. The Charter 8.2.5 says this fund should be transparent. And I tried to find how much is transparent this fund, and I was looking through all this, their website. I couldn't find any report about that fund. And I don't know how much and how otherwise they can make fund publicly available or open. So this is the clear case where the fund charter provisions are used or implemented when it is good for them. When it is not good, they don't implement it. So their charter has a lot of holes inside.
And so should party members adhere to their political party's decisions? So if there's a majority decision...
So a parliament member?
Yes.
Well, you take parliament member, first his purpose or mission is to defend the interest of his constituency, those who had elected, right? Who had elected. But if there is a conflict of interest with his main mission, then he need to defend that interest, whether it is in the line with the political party or not. So that's the main mission of the parliament member of Mongolia. And in this case, Mr. Bolt, for example, goes in the interest of the people, and if it violates the party charter, and then even if at the cost of losing their caucuses, he resigned from membership, which is a very strong attack on the integrity of the Democratic Party at this time.
And so moving on to our third topic of the evening, the government decided to increase the mortgage loan financing from 300 to 500 billion tugruks. So what is the effect of this additional 200 billion?
Well, this let's make some small calculations. 200 billion tugruks more means if you take $100 million, 100 million tugruks apartment, 2-bedroom, 2-rooms apartments, 30% the person pays ahead. Another 70% he is receiving for 8% for 20 years, etc. So if within this scheme, it is about only 3,000 apartments added. But however, there is a 66,000 apartments alone in Ulaanbaatar are either ready or being completed. 66,000 apartments are there on the market, supply side. On demand side, there is 180,000 families living in Ger districts with log toilet. So the demand is 3 times higher, 66,000 here, but they never met because it's too expensive for these people. So, and why is that? Because this Mongolian mortgage program is not sustainable. And it's plus started by the central bank, which is not supposed to make any budget activity. And they did somehow. And it was a lobby of construction companies and banks, commercial banks, who now own majority of the 66,000 apartments. And as soon as they started this program announced, the price went up 2 times more. So that's why the construction companies are in hope of having more mortgage support from the government, which is not sustainable also because 8% at the time when the credit interest rate of loan in Mongolia is over 20%. So the difference in general, the people pay from their budget, or everybody pays by their taxes, which is not sustainable for long run. And another reason, this year all this balance should be transferred to government budget, which did not happen. It means the government cannot run this whole budget on their own budget, because it is too much more. It will create more government budget deficit. And today, Tugrug is devaluated more and sharply, not because our trade balance is negative. On the vice versa, trade balance is not negative, but the payment balance, current payment balance, is negative. So Mongolia's government is paying more money for their foreign loan, their interests, than the money coming into the country. So that's the case.
So what do you think is the most effective or efficient means of continuing this mortgage loan program then?
This is how we can decrease, you mean, the interest rate of the...
And if it is possible to decrease this level below the 8%?
It is not possible until the general banking interest rates decrease. And they cannot be are not decreasing, because our Mongolian banks are doing all businesses. Every bank almost has own insurance company, own security companies, own construction companies. Some has own media, TV, newspapers, and even parking garage. So banks should be doing all the bank's business. That's the law, at least, which will be valid from January 1st next year, after 2-3 weeks. Whether they will do that or not, I don't know. Mongolians, many laws are not usually implemented. If they do, there will be a good chance for banks to be slim and to be more efficient, which will create more competition, and probably the interest rates will go down. Only in that cases, other interest rates will go down. But however, banks are so big, so strong, and they finance all political parties. And so this is the dilemma in the society. Only in that case. And it is also an issue of decreasing corruption, fighting corruption. And the small medium enterprises fund embezzlement is very clear case, where we have about dozen of politicians. They should have a moral responsibility. They should be resigned. And yet nobody is discussing. The Constitutional Court is having silence on that. Again, it's conflict of interests. So there are very clear cases now on the table. They should take over. And by taking over them, spelling them, making clear, getting them paid our money, that will make our democracy better, our governments better. And that's the way we expect, and that's the way it mostly goes.
And so in some countries, mortgage loan lending is only allowed to be provided by non-banking organizations. Are there similar laws in Mongolia?
In which cases it can be done is whoever institutions who organize mortgage loan things, they should have certain financial freedom. And in the case of Ulaanbaatar, for example, Ulaanbaatar, the capital city, and other IMACs, they have no financial possibility to issue on municipal bond, for example. If they have this issue, then at the level of Ulaanbaatar, they can organize many forms of the mortgage, so that where the particular district construction of buildings are owned by bondholders and also by locals who are participating in the business. So there will be many other forms that we can have more efficient. But first of all, two things. One, bank interest rate should be down. Second, Mongolia had to complete this corruption. where the politicians misuse their power for their own benefit, and our legal system is not able to deal with that. That's the situation we have today.
And so moving on to our fourth and final topic of the evening is the transparency of government decisions. So why is it important to have an open or publicly available database?
Well, it's very important, and the Asia Foundations have started two good work. One is this ublegal.mn, where all Ulaanbaatar organizations, all the related public organizations, decisions are published. I was very surprised to have so many government decisions to be that on this website, 73,000 decisions, which has to do with people's living, decisions that has to do with to change or to impact on the way people live are there. It turned out it's a very nice source of information. Second is also the way how the lawyers, judicial officials were selected. Shuchsongong.mn. So this is the two wonderful websites. And these are also, this a kind of attempt, this sort of open websites are so important for our democracy, because democratic government means, first of all, transparent, accountable, and responsible. And it can be done only when the whole information is available.
And so how can the community or us citizens utilize these websites?
Recently we had Digital Mongolia 2018 forum in Mongolia by our Communication Regulatory Commission, where they discussed about the current level of infrastructure of digital economy, which more or less created, and a lot of investment goes there. There's infrastructure, but now the state is to put there all the services on. That process is on, I understand. But now on the other side, you should receive as citizens, as you asked. And you usually goes through application that can be understandable, clear to you, easier to use. What's happening a lot now in Mongolia, more applications are being made. But the issue is how much because if all information is out there about you, about me, about everything, then I issue of the security, safety of my private information, your private information. So the government is to take care of the safety and security of private information. First, privacy information. Second, government must not have a right to use your data without your permission. So that's the whole set of legal clauses we have to take into consideration. And this is the way the Mongolian government should do it, that they should have a law especially protecting our privacy information at the same time when all informations are getting available. So I think it's a lot of things to work ahead. But Mongolia is doing progress in creating and using applications, which is good news.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And this concludes our program for this evening. Please join us next week at the same time for another weekly roundup of the biggest stories shaping Mongolia. Good night.
Our programs will be in the DeFacto Gazeta. You can subscribe free now on our website, jargaldefacto.com. Thank you. Have a good evening.